looking a delicate dark girl. There's a lot of things to talk about today. This new setup, which will probably be what I'm gonna do for a while. Let's talk about putting some chapstick on. I've been using this the Pat McGrath lip balm that my sister gave me. I feel like you're very far away right now. It's okay. You'll get too close in a little bit. This is the clear one. There's a rose one. There's shea butter way at the bottom. It's beeswax. So whatever is in here though, it's been helping my lips tremendously. But, you know, to each his own. Today, the look I have planned is a retro pastel kind of look. I've been really into blue eyeshadow. But the new things that I told you about, well, I don't think you've seen that yet. So this video will come out before the video that will announce this. These. So I think I'm going to use this one because I'm going for a more cool toned look today, especially because of what I'm going to put on my lips. And this one is, it's not exactly warm, but not as cool as I want it to be. Yeah, so this is the new setup right now. And today I actually wanted to do my makeup and read you poems. Now, I don't know if all of you like poems. I think this mirror is too big for what we're doing here. So, let's put that over there. Is it just me, or am I the only one that can't have mirrors facing up? They need to be turned over. I feel like it's from a superstition, and I just don't know which one. That's something I might have heard when I was little, but I don't know. My parents were really the most superstitious, but they sure did believe in a lot of things, but they weren't exactly the most superstitious people I've ever met. But I think what it is that they weren't the type of people to shut down other people's beliefs. They really valued letting people believe what they want, and it doesn't like affect them either way. So I think that's what made room for me to, I don't know, grow and learn and have my own things I believe in, stuff without opposition. Like even when I was younger and learning a lot of things religion wise, because I went to church school. Even when I was like going through that and like kind of becoming a little bigoted, I would say, like ignorance though, because I was so young. It was like the more I was learning, what I was learning was kind of closing my mind, and my parents made sure to try to open that mind back up. But it was more like, you know, just general society and life, and even the media has a role in shaping ideas when you're younger. So like today, a lot of kids have more third-party media that's not official. It's like other people's media. So there's a lot more information that they had that a lot of people don't have access to before the early 2000s when I was growing up. So, well, I was growing up in the 2000s as well. Like I was still in high school, but I left high school in 2005. Okay, that's when I graduated. So you can see that time era, and before that, like there was MySpace and LiveJournal and stuff, but there was a lot of things that just weren't as out there as they are now. So anyway, besides all that, my parents were the ones to, I think, bring me back to reality. I had to come back to that as I got older. I had to remember what my parents were telling me instead of listening to basically what the world was telling me, and that was to impress your opinion and your belief on other people because you alone have learned the right way. And people still do it now, but they do it in a lot of different ways. Anyway, I said all that to just talk about how those belief systems and stuff influence my writing, and especially my poems. Obviously they're very opinionated, but I always stop and wonder, like, how someone who doesn't share my beliefs, how they would receive my poem. Because I feel poems are personal, I don't write to pander to a general market. I don't know how else to put that. There's no other way to put that, really. I don't pander to a general market, but I don't write to isolate anyone. I write to create a thought, garner an emotion, express a notion or a feeling, or to empower, or to assist someone in their sensibilities. And I feel like that stems from my parents, who raised me to respect people as they live and as they believe. My eyebrows came out okay today. Juvia's Place and Nicka K. They'll never fail me. That to say, that was kind of a preface that led nicely from my little superstition thing. But that preface was so that we can get into the poems that I want to read to you. And yes, they are mine. It's from here. It's from Jam. Let's sort out this concealer. This is a new little self-made puff thing. Inside it is my Guerlain foundation. And you know that Guerlain foundation, it actually expires this month. The little package says April 2021. So the thing about it is I was like, oh, I should hurry up and finish it. Turns out there wasn't that much to finish. When I was putting it in this bottle, I was like struggling because well, I guess I used it a little more than I thought in the past 2 years. So that was a happy finding. So anyway, we're gonna be using Blue Moon. I've decided I'm gonna go at random, right? Blue Moon, how can I? Because once in a blue moon do I share my poetry through my own mouth. I usually just put it in a text. Let's stop here. So we have two things. We have Left on Read, and we have Like Folk, Judith, and Venus. I will read them both. If I can get it to stay open. I think I'm going to use Moonlite. So this is Left on Read. I am so nervous. This isn't even a live video. Left on Read. Or Left on Read, depending on how you want to read the title. I didn't want to go here, but the next time you think somebody should be impressed with you or pressed over you, you should remember the archaeology-worthy impressions you left on friends' couches from here to the bay. And I may add that yes, I helped you make them, but I'm not the one who can't seem to remember the truth. That you ain't never slept in a bed that somebody else didn't pay for. I'm not here for this. I didn't come to earth to be passed off like the laundry you dump on your mama every Saturday with a kiss on the cheek that probably leaves scratches. Like, come on now. I'm not the one. And your next chick about to find out that you ain't either. I've had some thrills, that's for sure. But I can get the same rush on a 30-second roller coaster and not have to clean up after anyone else after. So that's Left on Read. Should I talk about why I wrote some of these? I kind of want to, but well, I was doing some studying while I wrote this book, and a lot of it was about how the thing that makes poetry its most poignant is because it leaves things up for interpretation. But that one, I feel, is not one of those kinds of poems. That one is very straightforward. It was more amusing. It was more... This whole book was written in a way that was supposed to make people feel good, supposed to comfort people, supposed to give people a feeling of understanding, supposed to boost self-love and self-confidence. That poem was more about boosting somebody's, like, kind of making a humor situation out of something that happened, like when you are dealing with someone. And there's actually two poems that deal with the same topic but on the other side. But this side is when you are dealing with someone and then they start to act brand new on you, basically. And I wanted to express that. I want this to be a little more of a transparent blue. It's kind of working. I should bring you in for this part. Hi. That one was pretty straightforward, and I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. You could read it for yourself. And then of course, you know, there's the title, which is left on read, which is both what's happened to spark this kind of direct attack anger. You're kind of just like, what is this? Like, do you remember all the things we have been through together? Like the line where they're like, and I may add that, yes, I helped you make them. Like when you're down in the dirt with somebody, because this, I think, happens to a lot of people. I think most of us has been through this, even in the slightest degree, and some people a more severe degree, like a married person that like helped somebody build something, you know, like Angela Bassett in Waiting to Exhale. She helped that man build a company and then he left her. Anyway, well, he cheated on her, then he left her. But anyway, stuff like that. So like, you know, you like help someone through stuff or whatever, like, and maybe they're still having a hard time, but for some reason you start having a hard time or something, and they're like talking to you like, oh well, you need to get your life together and all this other stuff or whatever. Or maybe they're like, you know, and you're dragging me down or whatever, and I just need to keep going. And then you're just like, I'm dragging you down. Like, I was here supporting you. Like, what? That kind of situation. There we go. I like that a lot. I like it, Nancy. Go over the edges lightly. I hope I didn't really miss anything. That's kind of what this poem is about, basically. It's just a comment on that situation. Basically the person getting their last say. The person's trying to disallow them. Like, kind of ranting, kind of trying to read them the riot act, but like also read them for filth. And then the next one that I'm gonna read here is like Judith and Venus. And while I do that, I'm actually gonna put just a bit of this Lumi, I think, on the inner corner. I think that'll be nice. Let me read this one first because I don't think I can stick this in the corner of my eye and read it at the same time. She leads him forward on a red rose chain. She only glimpsed, She leads him forward on a red rose chain, only glimpsed by the moon's many faces. What thoughts beyond to keep the dawn at bay are needed or kept within his right mind. Her petal of a dress drips, arresting. She was meant for admiring, like this. With prayerful hands he answers her bid. His bold stare withers at her lilting sighs. They mix the night air with scents of late spring. their bodies flowering red and purple. They know the sun will come, search through the blinds, where prisoners of her ritual bind, and it will find her, a flushing meadow, dew-covered with wild roots, bleaching her sheets. Okay, see that? You're not as close as you usually are. Okay, so yes, that poem, that poem was written in sonnet form, but not strict sonnet form. So when you look at it, you might be like, oh, this isn't really a sonnet. But when you look at it, you're like, okay, well, it is a sonnet, right? Like, there aren't any of the strict rhyming couplets, and that's what throws you off. And so with that poem, the topic matter is about someone who is taking control of their love story in a way that some might not recognize as self-love from the outside, but when you actually look at it, this person is basically taking charge of their love life once and for all, because it alludes to someone who has been in a situation. Where's my eyeliner? The title, right? So you have women like Judith and Venus, who basically used to be used for like any woman, like in a painting, in an old like European Renaissance paintings, or was it Renaissance or the Romanticism period, whatever. Anyway, in those periods where they were doing all those paintings where people are like this, a lot of those anonymous girls were just called Venus, the Venus of whatever, the Venus of whatever. And then Venus is also another name for Aphrodite. And so like Judith and like Venus, like folk, this poem is about a woman who has been sexually assaulted, and this is her regaining that, because after that you have a lot of times where people are, the idea of a sexual relationship is part of a trauma now. And this poem is basically the main character, who's like folk, like Judith, like Venus, has been sexually assaulted, but she is taking back the rights to feel like a sexual person that does not deserve harm. She's taking back, like, none, because you don't deserve harm. Nobody expressing themselves sexually deserves harm, but unfortunately it happens. And so like the main character of this poem, and like Judith and like Venus, who have both been sexually assaulted in their stories, if you read Judith and Holofernes, not read, but like if you know the story behind that painting, and there's the beheading of him, Artemisia Gentilish, I believe is her name. It was a young girl from like way back when, and she actually she painted that scene of Judith slaying Holofernes because she had been sexually assaulted. There's just a lot of stories that are mixing together, right? And they all have that same thing. So anyway, this poem is basically about that. There's a nod in the first line to when Venus is chasing Adonis, or Aphrodite's chasing Adonis, because she's like obsessed with him. And she's like, I love you. And she's talking about how she had the god of war in her bed, you feel me? And she was leading him forward in a red rose chain. So, or leads him through. She said, I let him through in a red rose chain, or whatever like that. So I use that as the opening line, basically, to embody that sense of re-empowerment for your love, for your sexual welfare, for anyone who's been through assault of many kinds, any kind, that it's okay to still want that kind of relation, it's okay to allow yourself time to work through it. It's okay to reclaim your body in this way. You don't have to become some quote unquote holier than thou person. I'm just gonna put some eyeliner up in here. You don't have to become some quote unquote holier than thou person to recenter and re-justify yourself. It's also perfectly fine nodding to the very end, dew covered with wild roots, bleaching her sheets. It's okay to sometimes feel that need to stop, to take a break from all of that, to refocus and recenter, so that you're doing it with a clean and healthy mindset. Like, you have to do whatever it takes. Like in her case, because of the mess that all this is made, is just symbolized in bleaching her sheets. Like, when you bleach your sheets, they're the freshest they've ever been. They're crisp, right? They're almost like, they're basically brand new sheets. They feel like brand new sheets again. That's you. You can make yourself brand new. You can do it. Like, no one else has to come into your life and do it for you. They don't have the power over your body. No one does. Not your assaulter, not even someone who loves you, even though that's always great. Like, she meets someone to love for that night. She doesn't need them. It's not something that you feel like you should feel like you have to get the validation from someone else. And that's not the same thing as wanting to be loved. That's not the same thing. You are allowed to want to be loved. That's why she has him there. She's okay with that, and you can be okay with that too, going back to life as it was, as it were, because you have the last say over your sexuality and your body and your relationships. You have the last say, always. I'm going all the way inside. That's just like a quick rundown of that poem, that people can infer bits and pieces where they want. I hope it gives that kind of catharsis. I wrote this poem as a catharsis for like folk, for people like Judith, people like Venus, who went through assault and, you know, deserve to feel like they still have the right to their body and their sexuality. You didn't do anything to deserve it, so you don't have to leave it behind. You don't even have to leave that part of you behind. You can acknowledge it. And anyway, let's do one more because I'm still doing my face, huh? Let's try here. I'm gonna read this one and I'm not gonna explain it. Okay, I might explain it. Let's see. In summer. It's so easy to think your mother is anything but a woman, right? Mothers are part fairy tale and part magical and all angel. They could be. That they could be just one of us is like saying the sky could burn. Well, I watched the clouds turn orange today, hot pink about the trim. They're smoldering, leaving the early morning air thick with heat. So thick, the blades of grass all withered in sweat. I inhaled, getting used to the taste of beginnings. So that one's also kind of straightforward, right? It basically ends with the world on fire, set off by the sky looking like it's burning. I was looking at a sunset and I was like, wow, it looks like the sky's on fire. So I wrote about the sky and the whole world burning and basically it coming to an end. And it's partially about a Mother Earth. It doesn't sound like that, but it's partially about Mother Earth and about how we take Earth for granted and how it's just this all giving thing that will consistently give and be here. And but earth is all things. Earth is creation, but that if it's going to be all things, that means it's also destruction. And so that means that the earth can not necessarily turn on you, but it's going to do things that we as humans don't exactly like. But that's what happens. But the first part about this, it's really started as a poem just about mothers in general and how people think, again, like Mother Earth, they're just this all giving, all knowing, all being kind of saint. And that's what all mothers are supposed to be. But the thing is that mothers are just human. Like, it's so easy to think your mother is anything but a woman, right? So it's just the fact that people overlook the fact that your mother is a person first. In this case, your mother is a woman first. It's like women come with personalities. Things that you may not find agreeable. They come with tics, they come with a history, they come with background, they come with trauma. There's a lot of things that happened or are happening to mothers as their mother, before they became a mother, that form her every day of her life and inform how she relates to you, her children even. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but on the non-abusive side, or even if your mother's going through her own battles with life, maybe depression or addiction or something like that, it's just in general, like, to not look at them like a failed project of a mother, and to look at them like a normal human being that will and is going through stuff, and that can go through things, and that needs stuff. Like, they need love, they need to be heard, they would also, it would benefit to be understood, just like you and I want to be understood, to try to understand mothers outside of, beyond being a mother, I think would be nice. I'm just pulling the end of my eyeline out and then moving it this way. And that's it. It was like, so that's why I was just like, sometimes people act like it's the end all be all, that they like fucking see something that makes their mother look like a human, and anything she does that you don't like suddenly makes her a less than of a person because she's not this image of a perfect mom that you saw somewhere in your brain or caught a glimpse of on fucking Instagram. You want to think that it's the end of the world, that your mother isn't some kind of way. So I gave them the end of the world. This eyeline's always a little more difficult to do than the other, but you got it done. So I kind of want to put a little more blue back on my eye. I wanted it to be a little see-through, but it's getting a little too see-through, you know what I mean? I'm just going to brush a little more right up in there. Okay. So yeah, so that's in summer. And I thought I wasn't going to explain that, but there wasn't that much to explain. You feel me? We're just going to use the black Radiance Bold Sexy. I won't make you watch this as usual. Mascara things. Mascara. So we're going to actually put two on today. This is the Colossal by Maybelline. But again, don't worry. I won't bore you with this part. Okay. Alright, let's do our flip. And we're going to put on our foundation. Let's put on primer first. Da-da-da. So we're going to flip again. Okay, I'll read another one that was kind of under the same thing as Like Folk, so we can stay with like a theme here. It's also fitting because it's National Poetry Month, so here. We're celebrating National Poetry Month. We have Flesh here, and we have Black Opal, the True Color Carob, and this is Flesh and Tiramisu. And I'm upset because Flesh actually, I think, is now defunct. The only place I can find their stuff to buy is on Bulk Apothecary. So if you're like me and you miss Flesh, go on to Bulk Apothecary, and like the minimum you can get is 2, I think. But I think you can buy like 1 of the lipsticks at a time. Anyway, I really like them. It's making me kind of upset. It's just a little upsetting that it's gone. There it is on my forehead. And we're just going to take it under the eye. Like that. Just on the forehead and under eye. And then we're going to go to our trusty dusty Black Opal. And we're going to hit around the mouth. And here. Woo! And then the nose. And then here. Like that. Hi. And we're going to use the puff from this little makeshift guy. So, here we go. We're Gorgon and Lamia. It's Lamia. I call her Lamia, but it might be pronounced a different way. Lamia. Anyway, that is about women who, once again, have been traumatized and then turn into monsters and then depicted as villains for the rest of their existence and beyond. And so, anyway, that's what this is about, and this is Gorgon and Lamia. I'll keep doing this, and you'll hear me saying that. What to make of women with carnivorous appetites and bone-rattling glares, those women whose freedom was born out of the rage of the women before her, who knew all too well the myths of men. We've burned, we've buried, we've broken to bits. Just how long do they think we'll howl before we learn to bite and rip our lives from those who rush to ruin it? We are not cursed with our likeness. We were saved from the fire. These fangs were earned with blood, sweat, and tears, the pain that caused them a dowry. They can't be lovers, so they want to be heroes. Maybe we are monsters, our new beings unfit for their fantasies. We are reborn, leaving nothing for them to save or to claim ever again. That forehead job, boy. So there you go. That's Gorgon and Lamia. It's also another straightforward poem. Anyway, that's the dual side of things. So the first one was that you can go back to being, yourself and this and the third. And also another option for you, if you're not going back, there's no going back for you, you can become that so-called monster, because it's not really a monster after all, is it? It's just a brand new you. After things happen, people become brand new every day after things happen. So we're actually going to use this palette, the Celestial Divinity palette, and that is the color Venusian Orchid. Wow, how fitting. We're going to use that. It's going to be blush. I'm just going to use this brush. So, that's the other side of that. You can go back to being you and going back to doing what you exactly did before with no shame. You should have no shame about that. Or you could become a brand new bitch, you feel me? There's no shame in that either. You can reinvent yourself, become reinvented again. It's up to you, your identity, your body. Before and after things happen. Trauma and all. It's up to you. You get to become who you want, no matter what people want to call you instead. They can call you a monster, and they can talk about you after, and they can try to slur you and everything. But you know why they do it. And you don't have to let that stop you from being exactly who you want to be now. So that's Gorgon and Lamia. This is like a quick rundown of all of these poems, but that's what I'm saying. I'm giving you the highlight bullet points of the poem, the big scheme the reason I wrote it. This is Blossom Lady. Hold on, let's tap this into our faces. Don't you like that blush? Isn't that nice? I really like it. I don't want to tap it too much. It's already so damn subtle. I don't want it to disappear. Okay. Oops. So we're gonna put on Blossom Lady now, using this big ass mirror. You know, I have a lot to say about Blossom Lady first. It's just a little color. Pow. Okay. And then on the outside, we're gonna put Minted number 5. Minted number. I wonder if they were thinking of Mambo number 5, the song. I don't know how old they are there. They may not be old enough to remember that. The founders of this might not be old enough to remember that song at its peak. It's a little outrageous of a song anyway. I just put it on the line of my lip. I like creating that. And then we'll just smooth that out like that. Put a little bit more. Oh, there it is. And there it is. So, those are my palms and this is my face. Oh, I forgot an important bit. Highlight. I have my trusty dusty, you know, the highlighter that led me into understanding highlighter for me. My black opal. So we'll just put that at the bridge of my nose, as you've seen me do before, but I haven't seen me do in a while. Hi. And then just buff it out a little. There we go. That's it. That's where I like my highlight the most. Right there on the bridge of the nose. Why? I don't know. I just really like it right there, really. I didn't put any on my cheek. Although normally I put it like right here. And right here. We're gonna skip that today. This is it. It's just such a soft highlighter. They're highlight sticks. But I think this is Nude Glow. Just black opal, like I said. But they're highlight sticks. I want to get all the colors, to be honest. The particles are so fine. They actually catch the light the way I like them to. So anyway, that's it. Now we're done for real. So I hope you liked this look, and I hope you liked my poems. And if you want to read more of my poem, it's in the book Jam, which has been out. So I have the link on this page. Go ahead and click on the Delicate Dark Girl channel banner down below, and it'll take you to my page. It will take you to my website, and there you will see the 2 special editions that are only sold at the company, and then also those are on back order, but these are ready for purchase through lulu.com, and the link is on my website. Anyway, that's if you like poetry. If you don't like poetry, I hope that this was still enjoyable for you. You know, I did makeup. That's what you came here for. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with one more poem. It's called Inherit. So, to the someone who once prayed and asked, where have all the tender lovers gone? Let out your hair, sweet Valentine, so we may lavish in your brambleberry locks, those thatches of sweet history that once ate their way into others' minds with fear. Wrapped in its satin beds with more hues than sunsets at the edge of the world, come down for a bit. Let's flaunt the common airs about us. Let's chat about fine fruit, about the exquisite, about you. And if we manage to dance in every way but the way we were taught, it's no one's trouble but our own. What's louder than an amen? A yes from your lips. If you answer our call, we promise we'll be gentle.